So let me get this straight. Just to backtrack, and while we dealing with this whole situation with this special prosecutor, Robert Mueller, whatever the fuck his name is. The reason we have him, just so y'all know, the reason Robert Mueller is the special prosecutor prosecuting Trump, the job that Jeff Sessions should be doing, is because Jeff Sessions recused himself because he didn't want to be a conflict of interest. You know, he didn't want to have the perception of having a conflict of interest. And so, but mind you, the person who appointed Robert Mueller had a conflict of interest. At least 3 people on Robert Mueller's team had a conflict of interest. They didn't recuse themselves until their conflicts were found out and made public. Then that's when they recused themselves. The whole reason why individuals in the Trump administration were being surveilled was based off of FISA warrant, a warrant through the FISA. They got through the FISA courts, and so they got a warrant through the FISA courts based off a dossier by this ex-British spy named Christopher Steele. Christopher Steele got his information from people who knew people in Russia who had information about shit that Donald Trump did. And the way he acquired that information is by giving people money to give people money in Russia who knew motherfuckers in the Kremlin or wherever the fuck who knew shit about what Donald Trump was doing. So you telling me that there's no conflict of interest there? You know, and not even then on top of that, the money in which he paid those people to give to Russians to give them information on Trump was given to him by the DNC in the Hillary Clinton campaign. Like, what? James Comey had to sign off on some of this shit to actually happen. But when he testified on TV and he was asked questions about things pertaining to this, he just acted like he didn't have anything. He didn't know anything about it. Nigga, your name is on the paper. Your name is on the paper. They submitted information to the FISA court to get warrants to surveil people in Trump's campaign, and they were denied initially. The only difference, the thing that made it to where they were approved for a warrant, 3 times they went back to the court, because it's like 90 days. 90 days you had to go back to court for approval again. 3 times they went to the court, and the reason they got those warrants is because of the dossier by Christopher Steele. And then on top of that, they didn't even disclose neither time. They had 3 opportunities to do that shit. They did not disclose neither time to the courts that the information, how they acquired the information, or even that it was paid for by the Hillary Clinton campaign. So the Hillary Clinton campaign pays a motherfucker to dig up dirt on their competition, and the courts don't even disclose any of the information as if it didn't even matter. And all those top officials in the previous administration knew about this shit. Some people who are still in our government running shit right now knew about this situation. In the past, with anybody you feel about Trump or any of that shit, like if they can do it to him, they can fucking do it to you. Just because your eyes may be clouded because you feel like he doing this or that, something racist here or something racist there, like you need to get that shit out your head and think about the facts pertaining to this situation. Because you got 2 sides of your brain. You got your left side and your right side. You got one side that uses logic, and the other side makes decisions based off anger. And the way things kind of move right now in our political climate, we make a lot of decisions based off anger. Some we hear things that should make us happy, but people want to sit on their fucking hands because they got that anger in their heart, and they like, no, I still need to show that I feel I'm upset. Like, you moving like that and acting like that doesn't just affect that person. It affects you. It might not even affect the person you're trying to attack with those actions, but it affects you inside. It affects you subconsciously without you realizing. So you hear good information, you treat it like it's negative. But then you hear negative information, you treat it like it's good. Like as if things happening to individuals in our country that runs specific aspects of our lives, like something fucked up happening to them is going to make your life better. People out here boycotting companies that are part of their fucking 401k plans and their retirement plans just because somebody on the fucking TV said so. And then the person on the TV actually saying that shit to you, it could be based off just some random ulterior motives. But it doesn't fucking matter because people still move how they move just because they just want to base shit off anger inside of them. That's not how you move. That's not how a smart, intelligent person moves. You gotta look at the details when it pertains to these type of situations. Not just base it off of shit like, oh, man, this person racist, so everything anybody says that opposes him is true. And this is how you end up in fucking situations like this. They spent millions of dollars, millions, investigating this situation. The Hillary Clinton campaign spent millions creating this situation. We sit over here and talk about we need water for Flint and this and that. Like all this money right here could have been spent on something more productive, but it wasn't. Because some people made up some shit, and then a certain portion of the country got a battery and they back about the situation, and now we here. You know what I'm saying? But we didn't have to go down this route. Like it's so deep to the point where it's like it's so much information. It's like I can't even say everything in this one video about everything I see going on. I feel like I have to make multiple videos if I'm gonna talk about all of this. But it's like, do not turn a blind eye to something just because you feel like somebody is on your side. It's ridiculous. And then you also you got to look at the people who actually tell you these things. It gets you riled up inside. Like, what are their motives? What type of person is that person? We have people in our society right now who are like major influencers in our communities. And these major influencers, they like to just rile things up sometimes and just say things that they know would get people angry, but they know it's not truthful, but it's like they don't care. They know if they say something, a person's going to react a certain way, and that's what they want. That's what they need. So they can continue, you know what I'm saying, the bullshit that they're trying to peddle and push. I'm not going to sit here and say like racism doesn't exist, but you got to look at the origins of where racism actually came from, where that word came from. And actually said, where did it come from? The word racism came from Soviet Russia. It came from Soviet Russia. You need to look up the person. You need to look up Leon Trotsky and see how Leon Trotsky he is the creator of racism. He's the one who created that word. And the reason racism was actually created is because for political gain. When they were losing the battle of ideas, they used racism to win them votes and shut down their opponents who had better arguments than they did. What kind of goofy shit is that? And so I'm not saying it always is that, but anytime I hear somebody say something racist, the first thing you should think about is like, are they losing an argument? Is that the reason they saying that? Because when you start personally attacking somebody, that means sometimes you saw that you ain't know what the fuck you was talking about. You about to lose, so you like, it's like grabbing some sand and throwing that shit in somebody's eyes in a fight. Like you like, fuck it, I like, like hitting somebody low. It needs to be thought about in that manner, And if you did, you probably would have more honest conversations about what's actually going on. Instead of just when people hear that, it's like they something click in their brain and they just like they don't give a fuck about anything else that may be logical going on because of what was said. But it's like that shit has blinded people for years. And understand, claims of racism has caused the deaths of hundreds of millions of people. I'm just talking about in the Soviet Union, Soviet Russia. When Stalin was in power, that led to communism. The way he got in power, though, is through claims of racism against his opponents that he subsequently ended up killing after he was elected. People starving to death. And then Leon Trotsky, after Stalin died, excuse me, after Lenin died, after Lenin died, you had Lenin and Stalin. But Lenin died. Lenin and Stalin were in the, I guess, like, I say, like, for lack of a better word, I don't know all that shit over there. They're pretty much in the cabinet for Lenin. But after he died, you had Leon Trotsky and Joseph Stalin running and campaigning for that spot that Lenin held. And Leon Trotsky ended up losing, and he ended up having to flee fucking Soviet Russia because Stalin was going to try to kill his ass. He was in Mexico with fucking living with Frida Kahlo, the artist with the unibrow, whatever. He ended up dying because he was stabbed in the head with an ice pick. True shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm not making up none of this. You need to look up, do y'all research. But I mean, but just understand that this is where some of this shit come from, and we over here talking about collusion with Russia. When all the tactics that actually take the country over, or this special prosecutor and all this other shit, is from people who are using. It's like these is Russian tactics. You saying these is like old school Russian tactics, and you getting information that Donald Trump did A, B, and C from Russians. You know what I'm saying? And at the same time, he a racist. You know what I'm saying? And all this other shit, and it's like another tactic for some fucking Russians. It's like, it makes no fucking sense, man. It makes no sense. You doing yourself a complete disservice if you're not even looking at this dossier. I mean, excuse me, not the dossier, this memo. Because this memo contains a lot of information that you need to hear. Don't just listen to people online and fucking on TV talking about, oh, it's fake and it's just some made up shit to help Trump. Like, where? Okay. I'll go with that. I love shit like that. You know what I'm saying? I want to debate somebody on some shit like that. You feel like it's fake? Like, why is it fake? Which part? Which part is fake? Which part? You know what I'm saying? I'd like to know, because I don't want to be walking around saying some foolish shit. Let me know where I'm wrong. You let me know where I'm wrong, and I know it's here or there, and then I can make better decisions or use my critical thinking skills to come up with a better, work this shit out in my head. Because right now, based on my intelligence and me looking at actual facts, y'all niggas is wrong. Based off me looking at facts and stats, that's what the fuck you need to be looking at. But we don't look at shit like that. You know what I'm saying? This shit bothers me. I don't understand why I don't understand why we don't look at stuff like that.